All right, folks. My guy Matt is here for Tox Talk. Say what's up to the people, bro.
What's up, people?
Yeah, man. So I'm glad you're here, dog. It's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of craziness going on. But honestly, I just want to start off with something that we both kind of came across today in a weird way. Like you sent it to me in the group chat, but I typically ignore all your stuff anyway, so I just like never looked at it. And then I looked it up. I was like, wait, this thumbnail looks familiar. Who sent this earlier? And I checked the group chat. I was like, oh, Matt sent this earlier. So, but it was this John Markey guy. He's like the CEO of Whole Foods or whatever. And Whole Foods is actually, yeah. So I'll go ahead and let you like lead off on it.
Oh God. Basically, John Markey, like you said, former CEO of Whole Foods,
Oh, so he's the former. He's not even the CEO anymore.
is not because guess who he sold Whole Foods to?
Oh yeah, the Lex Luthor.
Yep.
It was,
But he's on Joe Rogan's show talking about the pitfalls of socialism and why capitalism is the most appealing and fair, in quotations, socioeconomic structure out there.
so how do you feel about him saying that?
It's complete horseshit.
I thought you.
Like, in short, it's complete horseshit. So, for someone who, again, is the former CEO of this multi-million dollar company, to be talking about how he's a conscious capitalist and how he hands out all his money and blah, 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 it's bullshit when you realize that like he's very isolated. He has enough money to where he doesn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, I only make $1 an hour. It doesn't mean anything.
I hate when they say that because it's like, yeah, but y'all do all these like, stock buybacks. It's other ways they make their money.
Exactly.
It's the same thing Jeff Bezos says. It's like, bro, but you're like, how are you then? How are you like the richest man like to ever exist?
Exactly. Like it's posturing. It is a lot of, I guess, in a sense, virtue signaling.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Which I get because so I guess my perspective is I'll start off by saying that just like how he was explaining like the appeal of socialism now kind of got under my skin because I feel like
mhm,
it's a very like surface level way of viewing it. It's like as if one, you're not in touch with the people, and then two, you're not even like you're not even paying attention to what's going on right now. Like, bro, like do you not see what's happening economically to the country right now? And that's all due to them like not helping the people and helping someone like you who's a billionaire or a million, whatever he is. And it's like
right.
for him to make it out to be about, colleges and shit like that, like teaching these kids this shit. Bro, it's not just kids believing this shit. It's full grown adults believing this shit that have seen the system constantly not work in their favor and fuck them over, even when they're hard fucking workers. And you still, and the sick part about somebody like him is, and that ideology is that there's people who literally have been fucked by the system and like adopt his ideology. And it's like that's the most heartbreaking one to see when somebody like goes through all the economic turmoil that a lot of people in like Central America go through and everything, and it's like they still hold on to this like libertarian economic like it's it's just it's weird to me. Like how do you go through your situation and still hold on to those ideologies?
Well, the way I see it, a lot of it comes from miseducation. Not to sound like Lauren Hill or anything, but
It's not bad to sound like her.
that's a different conversation. I love
Well,
Lauren Hill, but
it's not bad to sound like '90s Lord when she's talking about free thought and shit like that. We'll just leave it at that.
but anyways, it's we're not taught the socioeconomic structure of this country in school. We're not taught the history of class struggle in school. I mean, you have the 40-hour work week, paid holidays because of quote unquote socialist movements. in
Yeah.
this country.
We're not even taught, like, we learn very little about like the, like the labor movement during the Great Depression, but nobody talks about, like, especially teachers, they, like, when it comes to like the late 1800s and everything, it's about like American expansionism and leading into the industrial age, but nobody talks about the, like, literally, like, how you had these rich oligarchs basically back then that would hire law enforcement to go out and kill people that would start labor movements, like literally go out and kill them. Like, West Virginia is ripe with that history. They've literally had like massive, I think it was like coal riots and shit like that. Oh, that's West Virginia behind you?
Well, Western Virginia.
Western, okay, cool. But yeah, West Virginia has a rich history of, shit like that, and train the people who built the railroads and everything back then were fighting for their labor rights back then and were getting persecuted. So it's like they don't want you to just to know the overall history of the worker in this country, in my opinion.
Right. But going back to what is his name? John Mackey, Jim Mackey, whatever the fuck.
John Mackey, yeah, something like, yeah, John Mackey.
He can go fuck himself. I don't care about his name. But when it comes to someone like that, how do I say this? And again, going back to your point about how surface level it was, he made it sound as if, oh, hey, people who want socialism want to live in a perfect world.
Pretty much.
No, it's not necessarily that. It's people who want this quote unquote socialism want healthcare. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and a place like Amazon is now getting into, pharmaceutical distribution, and most of their workers don't have healthcare. Like, think about how redundant that is.
Yeah, and it's like it's crazy, and just the healthcare is a whole can of worms and everything, but it's just like, how has the rest of the world figured it out and we still like are purposely behind the ball? It's not like we don't know. We know what we need to do, but we don't want to do it because we want to hold on to private, corrupt, insidious health insurance companies. I don't get the fight to hold on to these like literally evil health insurance companies. I don't get it.
Well,
But
to put it simply,
yeah,
because they influence policy.
yeah, very true.
They have
But
enough money to where they can buy, the politicians. Politicians rail against it, and well, now we're stuck.
and that's a point that Rogan brought up with capitalism, but of course he brought it up in the sense of not necessarily agreeing with him, but like giving him a concession. Because Rogan, like if you watch the full clip, Rogan was kind of on his ass the whole time. So it was like it left me, and I know people don't like Rogan having people like this guy on or having these, right wing people on, but you have to have these people with different ideologies. One, to understand where people are coming from, but two, so it just unveils the type of people these guys are. And it's like another one of the things that really got under my skin though is how like he talked about like, oh, I know, like he was like, so have you actually like debated like a socialist before, like, yeah? And he was like, well, yeah. And it's like, basically he was like, I beat him all the time, this and that. And he was talking about how well read he is on the socialism when you obviously don't understand socialism. And when you're actually talking to a socialist, you're more than likely talking to a social democrat who still believes in capitalism. They're literally just for basic things like everybody having healthcare. And and he has a debate out there in video with Richard Wolff. I don't know who if you know who Professor Richard Wolff is.
I saw it.
Bro, he sauced the shit out of him, bro. Yo, like I don't get how you declare that a victory, but and it's like, look, watching that video, and I'll try to sum it up real quick. Watching that video, like, made me realize, like, it didn't make me hate Richard Wolff. It made me like dislike John Mackey even more because it's like people like you are why we still have to have these dumb conversations while people are fucking suffering right now. You have all these eggheads at this fucking debate conference where, everybody, they're not necessarily saying everybody in that audience is elitist or isn't struggling, but bro, there are millions of people across this country that are struggling from coronavirus and have been struggling even before coronavirus. And people like John Mackey, like, stand in the way of that. And it's just like, get out the way, bro. Like, if you don't want to, abide by the majority here, what most of the people want, like Medicare for all is like, it polls anywhere like countrywide from 60 to 65 to 70, over 70%. And then with Republicans, it floats around 60 to 65%, 68%. So it's like, it's not like people don't want this. It's just that when it's explained to them in a way that's not like, oh, would you like a government takeover of healthcare? Like, have you seen how they ask people questions?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's fucking
Would you like
ridiculous.
the government to tell you which doctor you could go to?
Dude, it's insane because it's like that's not even true. There was this guy, and then I guess we could get into this now. It kind of goes into what we're talking about, but it's like then they have the goal to like talk about how progressives and their policies like Medicare for all are the reason why they lost the Democrats lost seats in the House and why they didn't get the Senate back. And it's like, no, literally when you look down the list, everyone who was for Medicare for all kept their seats or they beat their opponent. And it's like those who didn't lost. And all of them were corporate Democrats who then went on to fucking corporate news, the corporate news airwaves, and blasted them with how AOC is the reason why the Democrats lost and defund the police is why we lost. And then that allows Fox News to parrot the whole, oh, people like AOC and Ilhan Omar almost lost Joe Biden this election. And it's like, actually, no, John Kasich is why Joe Biden lost this election because last time I checked, Biden got the shit stumped out of him in Ohio, but he won by like what 300,000 votes in Ilhan Omar state.
Yeah,
Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean Minnesota wasn't. I'm not gonna say it wasn't going to go Trump, but the way Trump has vilified some of these people in some of these cities, and the way Republicans have, they aren't helping their case whatsoever.
Oh yeah, for sure. And when you're calling Joe Biden like a radical Marxist and shit, that like typically, doesn't sway
He's
people.
a Reagan era Republican, like.
But not even that. Most people just don't give a shit. Like even, and then the Hunter Biden shit. Like, although I think it's important, I think it's something we should know. But to the people that are like, you literally hear people like bring up a reason why Trump shouldn't have lost. Like it doesn't make sense that he lost. And they bring up the Hunter Biden story as something that had this huge impact. It's like, yeah, it had a huge impact with people that actually gave a shit already. Like your everyday American that's struggling doesn't give a shit. They want to hear about stimulus. Really, that's why a lot of people were so unsure about, the Democratic Party because you had somebody like Nancy Pelosi holding up, all this fucking, stimulus to shaft Trump in the election. But we're going to get to Pelosi. What I want to talk about now is like just the economic barrel people are staring down, bro. Like, it's bad. Like, it's really bad right now. Like,
we're fucked.
And the crazy part is you have people that don't understand that don't get that. You feel me? And it's like, I saw this video the other day. I'll pull it up right now. It's honestly shocking. Like, hang on 1 second. 1 second. Hold up. I thought that, here we go. And I think you might have seen this before, but just for the audience listening now. So we have bread lines in America again, or food lines, not even just bread lines. We have food lines in America again. And this was specifically in Texas, Ted Cruz's state, who's preaching full-blown austerity right now for his state. But these numbers like really like hit me hard. It was like more than 6,000 cars and about 25,000 people were served by volunteers and staff of the food bank during the around 5-hour event. Anna Corian, NTFB's senior director of marketing and communications, told CBS News in an email, the food bank distributed 600,000 pounds of food, including 7,280 turkeys to families during the drive-through pantry. Like, that shit is insane, bro. And when like, just look at the video, dog. Look at that shit.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally insane. Wow, okay. They're gonna play a commercial. Wow.
Of course, fucking ads.
But yeah, so just like seeing that, it's like, I think some of these, elected officials see what's going on, and I think B, some of them don't give a shit. But like, do a lot of people in these suburbs and shit like that haven't been hit by the crisis yet? Do you think they know what's going on right now? Do you think they see what's coming?
I hope. I honestly hope. I mean, me being privileged enough to live in the suburbs, I know a few people who are doing clothing drives.
Or
I know people who are doing food drives. So I I'd at least hope that people understand like how bad this could get.
it's not about how bad it could get. Like you got people like talking
Where
about,
we're at right now, I'll put it that
yeah,
way.
we're literally in the middle of the nightmare right now and getting worse.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't, I don't think this gets any better anytime soon, unfortunately. Which is, it's unfortunate.
It is, and then you have two inept parties that are just like full blown like not give a shit mode. Like you saw Nancy Pelosi have that fucking meltdown on Wolf Blitzer, right?
I did not,
Dude,
because fuck Nancy Pelosi.
she dog, she went full Donald Trump on Wolf Blitzer, bro.
On Wolf Blitzer?
On Wolf fucking Blitzer, bro,
On Wolf Blitzer? Come
because he
on.
actually decided to, somebody made a joke. There was like somebody finally put the battery pack in Wolf Blitzer to make him actually like do his job and be a reporter. But he's he started pushing Nancy Pelosi like, yo, like we see like these food lines now, like what are y'all doing? Are you close to, and this is before the election and shit like that, but he was like, are you close to like finding a deal like with Trump? And she was like, well, yeah, they've offered us something, but we're not going to accept it. They had one. That was the one they offered them. But she was like, we're not going to accept it because, it doesn't address certain little issues that I can't talk about right now. But yeah, all the president wants to do is send out checks and put his name on them. Da da da. And it's like, who gives a shit? Who cares? Who cares? People need
I
help
mean,
right now.
on one hand, I do get it because, and don't take this as me advocating for her behavior.
I'm not. I
One
won't.
hand, I do get it because when Trump sent out that first batch of
Mhm.
stimuli, I guess is the word.
Stimuli.
Um, it was basically like, oh, hey, look how great I'm doing. When both parties kind of decided, oh, hey, $1,200 is enough, which it isn't.
And I was agreeing, and I thought that too in the back of my mind when I first saw it until I went back to the CARES Act. And it's like,
Yeah,
just the attitude that was completely different. Like literally, because I'm working on something for a story right now about it. So back when the CARES Act was going on, she was basically full throated, like, we need to get this stimulus passed no matter what. We need to do it now and get it passed. It doesn't matter, what Trump wants. It doesn't matter what the Republicans want. Like, our constituents need help now. And it's like, I find it funny when you're saying that when most of the benefits of that one went to your rich constituents, but now that it comes to the poor ones, now it's you're
you
worried
want to
about,
hold on.
yeah, you're worried about Trump putting his name on it. Oh, okay. That's where we're at right now. And that's the extra layer that just made it like
It's
you're
insidious.
it's so fucking insidious, man. And I guess we could just roll unless you want to add more to this specific topic about the economy.
Last thing I will add is while it is fuck Nancy Pelosi on the stimulus, it's also fuck Mitch McConnell on the
Oh
PPP.
yeah, for sure. Did you see him? He dog. This motherfucker went on stage and was like, they asked him about, well, not necessarily the PPP, but they asked him about like another round of $1,200 checks, and he was like, well, that's not in our plan, but we'll agree to a plan with the Democrats and see where we go from there. So I'm like, yeah, because both of y'all motherfuckers only agree on giving more like shit to Wall Street, literally. But I just want to roll into Nancy Pelosi, and this
Oh my God.
we're probably about to get argumentative here because I'm about to not necessarily go off, but so she got nominated again for Speaker of the House.
Of course.
But my question is, did like AOC's Ro Khanna, like all these progressives that their like balls drop off?
Did they nominate her as well?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Just like she did last time, we voted her in to not vote Nancy Pelosi. Well, not we, but the people in her district voted her in, but we, promoted her so much because she was going to be the opposition to Nancy Pelosi and not vote for Nancy Pelosi and protest Nancy Pelosi. But
And what did she do?
yeah, not only did
Rolled
she
over for Nancy Pelosi.
yeah, not only did she vote for her this time, but the last time as well. And last time was like I felt like a lot of like left people didn't want to accept it. She called this bitch Mama Bear. She's the Mama Bear of us. And all her, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Presley, they all did this little photo op with her and everything. Please tell me you remember that.
I remember it. I'm just saying, like, you see
Uh,
my face, right?
yes, but this is like, this is the problem I've been having with a lot of these progressives. They're talking about, oh, well, you can't just go in shitting on them all the time because of this and that. But it's like, you're voting for, like, Nancy Pelosi has a lower approval rating than Donald Trump. She's
Which
like,
says something.
she's at around like 20, 21%.
Nobody likes the bitch. I'm upset that she won her district to begin with.
Well, that's because there was a coalesced thing around her, like literally. So I felt like AOC, they learned from AOC, which basically, we're just not going to cover anybody that's running against, the us, the corporate Democrats. We're just not going to, acknowledge them now. But then, like, you had people like Nancy, or not Nancy Pelosi, obviously she's going to distance herself from him. But you had people like AOC and Ilhan Omar, like, not even endorsing him from the beginning. And then when they used that Me Too smear campaign against them, that was complete bullshit. Like, they distanced themselves from him.
I didn't know he got me too'd.
Yeah, he got Me Too. Like, literally during the heat of the election, when he started to get the most recognition, when people actually, oh, there's somebody actually running against Nancy Pelosi, and he started to get some recognition. That's when all of a sudden he's a whatever they said he did. That like literally turned out to be bullshit. Like, people were like debunking it as soon as it came out. Like, yeah, that's not true.
Jesus. I mean,
And then it's like they distanced themselves from him, and it's like basically the overall point that I'm trying to make is, one, if you're not going to oppose Nancy Pelosi, what's the fucking point of you being there? But two, if you're going to still play by the same rule book of the corporate Democrats, which is pushing this identity politics bullshit above all else, like I don't know if I'm going to continue to vote for progressives, honestly. Well, I'm not. You already know I'm not voting Democratic Party ever again anymore. I didn't vote Democratic Party in this one at all. I refuse to. So, but I don't get how somebody can still vote Democrat or vote for their favorite progressive or whatever when they're doing the same bullshit. Like, Ro Khanna was on Jimmy Dore's show like a week or two ago, and was defending the CARES Act, his vote for the CARES Act.
it's just fucking, that hurts my fucking head.
It's like, nothing's getting done, but you have. And it's like, the YouTube media outlet is who really covers progressives and everything. And it's like, there's very few, maybe like two or three that actually push back on them. That's it. Everybody else just falls in line. Like, they're the corporate media, like the Young Turks fall in line. All the popular like YouTube media that covers progressives, because the corporate media doesn't. Like, they treat them like how the corporate media treats the corporate Democrats. And it's like, it's kind of sickening to see, because I thought the whole point of us being different than them was to actually challenge the people that we put in there, you feel me, when they start fucking up.
Yeah. But at least to me, it seems as if any real progress is going to be done, there needs to be a break into a third party. The progressive wing needs to break.
But they're not going to. They're full-fledged. Like, right now, everybody's down on, like, everybody, and just it's dumb to me, but I get called stupid when I say shit like this on, like Twitter, on my page and everything. I get called a child when I say we need to start a third party, because it's like, oh, it's impossible. How are we going to do it? And it's like, literally take the Green Party's formula, throw in a little bit of Trump and a little bit of Bernie, and I promise you'll be able to do it. But it's like they're like right now the progressive leaders, I guess, the politicians are all in on reforming the Democratic Party, which has been proven is not going to fucking happen.
Yeah, well, I guess if you want, we could. I cannot talk today. I guess if you want, we could switch topics because this leads into something else.
Yeah. This honestly just, and if you need any more hint that you're not going to reform the Democratic Party, look at Joe Biden right now, what he's doing after he suckered all you fucking progressives into voting for him because Trump bad. Look at who he's
Orange man bad.
Yeah, look at who he's filling his cabinet with. He's filling his cabinet with fucking Wall Street goons, big oil lobbyists, fucking
Obama era holdovers.
Obama era war hawks, people that literally started wars, like Tony Blinken, for example, who defends the Yemen war, but he's our Secretary of State.
Which how do you do that? Like,
he even defends he was defending Joe Biden's vote on the Iraq war. Yeah.
How do you do that?
The
Iraq war was a fucking quagmire.
Well, the way they defend Joe Biden's vote is by saying, well, he brought the troops home, right? Eventually. That's literally their defense. That's Joe Biden's defense for his vote.
Yeah, after killing how many?
Well, it's not even that. He doesn't even address the vote. He just says, well, I brought him home.
Of course. But it's like, yeah, you bring the troops home after how many troops lost their lives? How many troops came back wounded? How many people got PTSD from the shit they got there? How many civilians were killed? How many families were ripped apart? That's
I see anything from the numbers that I see go from 250,000, 250,000, 500,000. I've seen numbers all the way up to 1 million. So, and it's we destabilize that region. We always destabilize every region we go to. But
of course.
And I don't know if you heard about Obama's new book that came out. Yeah, Barack Obama's new book came out, and he apparently when he was on his way getting sworn in as president after running on, calling out George Bush's war crimes, he seemed to not understand why there were people out protesting George Bush. Go figure. But yeah, go ahead and lead the way on this Biden cabinet picks on his.
Oh god. Man. So, like I said, it's basically a lot of Obama era holdovers, and on one hand, the thing these liberals are praising are the diversity in the cabinet.
Oh, sad, the diversity. I love seeing a black man bomb brown men. It's so beautiful.
Which, okay, on one end, ideally, you'd think a more diverse cabinet would help.
Isn't there it's like a trans woman in his transition team, right? Or something like that?
I believe so, yeah. Which, great for her. It's a great step for trans people in general, right? But
yeah, go ahead.
In the same breath, if what she's doing on that team isn't helping the rest of society, it's just a congratulatory trophy.
Yeah, it's literally now we're probably going to have rainbow flags on our bombs when we drop them on people.
Pretty much. The person taking over, I want to say, Homeland Security and Border Patrol, I believe. I could be getting this wrong. He's Hispanic, right?
Yeah.
Which is great, but he's white passing Hispanic and will probably still lock kids in cages.
Well, it's not even about that. Literally, someone on his transition team was defending the Obama era immigration policies of separating children and putting them in cages. I covered it on my show. I forget what the woman's name is. She's not in the cabinet, but she's part of the I think it's called they call it the transition team, but on his page it's called something that's White House high staff or something like that. I forget what the exact word he uses for executive staff, something like that. But yeah, like literally these people are the same people who put through the same fucked up policies that nobody gave a shit about when Obama was in office because they were all at brunch.
Fuck the brunch crowd.
They're so annoying, bro. But I feel like they're the loudest on social media, and it's so annoying because they're the one like literally. So going to your point, Biden put there was somebody named one of his picks is like Cedric something. He's a black dude. He put him in charge of some type of something having to do with the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a motherfucker that was like literally lobbying for ExxonMobil like a couple years ago, and yeah, but
How does ExxonMobil help the environment?
exactly. But then the Sunrise Movement, they're in the streets right now protesting him in Philly right now. Well, I don't know if
Of
they're
course.
doing. I don't know if they're doing it right now, but like literally a couple days ago, they were in the streets
Yeah,
protesting him.
of course.
Yeah, protesting Joe Biden. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we got you in office. Literally in Philly, we got you in office. You need to hold your vote and shit like that. And literally, you saw the Twitter response. They're like, God damn, he's not even in office yet. Like, you know, he has to handle the pandemic first, this and that. Like, why don't you guys just give it a break? Like this and that. And that people like that are the fucking problem. It's either these neoliberals that work these fine, cushy jobs and don't give it, don't have to worry about shit, or it's the Hollywood class that's literally, that they were shaming poor people all leading up through the campaign as, if you don't vote for Biden, you're a piece of shit. But now that they got elected, like you saw fucking John Legend and Chrissy Teigen dancing in the streets with everybody, all these like Hollywood celebrities, yay, Trump is gone, this and that. And they're all going the fuck back to sleep and not going to give a shit. Just like and one more point, and I'll let you go. Just like how I'm doing a piece on the Yemen war right now, and that shit is so sad to hear what those people are going through, shit like that. But like I remember whenever all through Trump's term and shit like that, whenever people would talk about Yemen, they would do it through the lens as if Trump was the one that started the war. No, Barack Obama and Biden started that war with Saudi Arabia. And literally, there was this report from the Gray Zone where basically this woman, she's an American, but I think her family's from Yemen, I believe. She was talking about it. She was like, yeah, the Saudis would not be able to do what they're doing right now without American support. And literally, she was like, one of the things Biden should do is like literally take, stop funding them with weapons and stop funding them with intel. And she was like, I promise you, they won't be as effective in the war if that were to happen.
Well, to the two-party system, right? Because it does take two to tango, I guess. Mm-hmm. Trump did sign a huge deal for Raytheon for Saudi Arabia, if I remember. I don't remember the exact numbers. You might have to look into that.
Yeah, after the Saudi government basically bribed them through his hotels to do it. But that's a different story.
Well, this is also after Jamal Khashoggi as well.
Which the media, again, the media can't, like, you can't, look, am I for theocratic governments chopping up journalists in their fucking backyards and shit? No, I'm not for that. But, like, the United States cannot sit here and pretend like they don't persecute journalists and whistleblowers. So that's where it's like, it's bad. The president of, what's that country called that just had the conflict with the Armenian government? What's that country called? Azerbaijan, yeah. The president was literally just talking to this. I think she was a British reporter, but she's the mainstream media, and they were calling into account like, whether he, the state has taken over the media and basically it's like state-run media and shit like that. And he was like, "Yo, y'all can never say anything about any other country." Like I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he was like, "You cannot say anything about any other country when you guys are literally like persecuting Julian Assange right now." Like literally, that's what he said. And she was like, "Yeah, so I'll change the subject." He said, "Yeah, I bet you do now." So it's like, it's like the United States, when it comes to Saudi Arabia, I'm not defending Saudi Arabia, but it's like, the United States has its fair pair of shit going on. And with that, specifically the Khashoggi story, I feel like that was to distract from the fact, like, even though it was a horrible thing that happened, they used that to cover for Trump, in my opinion, when it came to the Saudi Arabia funneling money to him through his hotels, because that wasn't talked about very much, if I remember, on corporate media.
You could be right, the way I read the story, that also played a lot to do with it, or had a lot to do with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because there's more than one hand at play.
yeah,
There's that, and then
yeah.
going back to Saudi Arabia, this is a different story. But there were Saudi nationals who committed an act of terror in December of last year on U.S. soil.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Most people forget about it. Why? Because we're buddy buddy with Saudi Arabia. We wouldn't ever, 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 ever talk bad about them now, would we?
yeah. Nah, because they prop up our petrodollar.
Exactly. And that's why all this is going on. But that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah. So, but like, bottom line is, I feel like Biden's picks are just another, ghouls gallery of, Obama era motherfuckers and lobbyists and all these K Street people and shit. Like, it's going to be 4 more years of the same. And it's like, again, I feel like my fear is going to come true. I saw Joe Scarborough, he was talking about this, and he was like, look, unfortunately for progressives, Joe Biden's going to have his hands tied dealing with Mitch McConnell, and he's not going to be able to do much. And it's like bullshit. Kiss my ass. He can do most of the thing. Biden has options, and this is what the Democratic Party likes to convince you that they don't have. Whether it's blocking a judiciary pick for like a week. They only had to do it for like a week, right? They could have do it for a week, and Republicans did it for like a whole fucking year almost. Like, when it came to Obama's pick.
Well, there was that. And then also, the Democrats were really good at blocking, or not conservative, progressive voices.
Yeah, kind of like how AOC's like, I don't want to run against Nancy Pelosi because it's all about party unity. When every fucking opportunity they get, they run some corporate fucking ghoul against them to primary them every time. But like
Of course.
the progressives seem to not be able to grow the balls to primary any of these motherfuckers. So, or they primary the ones that don't matter. You'll never see them. Like Shahid, I'm pretty sure he did that by himself. He decided to do that on his own.
Yeah, that was 100% grassroots from everything I've seen.
Yeah, so it's like it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And then they self-destructed fucking Mitch McConnell to win because they had a really good, strong candidate there. I forget what the guy's name was. It was a black dude too that ran against
Yep.
McGrath, and the people there loved him. They loved him a lot. And it's like, they funneled all this money into Amy McGrath, and everybody like, how the fuck are you going to run a pro-Trump Democrat in Kentucky against Mitch McConnell?
Because they think that I don't know what the logic was behind that.
The logic was for them to lose. It's wrestling.
It's almost like the same logic as why you would have a John Kasich speak at the DNC not too long after AOC, and where they contradict each other's points.
And not even contradicting. He was just outright shitting on her in his speech. She's like, how much? Oh, should I open my mouth more? Like, that's what they do. That's what they do. I kind of have a joke. I just thought about it. I was like, yo, literally, fucking politics is literally like wrestling, except everybody actually has healthcare.
That's funny. That's funny.
Because Andrew Yang was on the Breakfast Club the other day talking about how, like, dude, wrestlers get fucked, bro. Wrestlers get fucked. Like, and I told Grav about it, and Grav broke it all down to me and shit like that, bro. They get screwed a lot, dog.
Oh yeah, of course. Also, speaking of wrestling, this is random as hell. Happy retirement, Undertaker. R.I.P. I know you. Yeah, he officially retired on Sunday.
Oh shit! See,
I
I'm
know
not a
you're not
wrestling
big into
fan.
wrestling, but like,
I'm not a wrestling fan, but I found like that Andrew Yang interview was pretty interesting because it's like you could tell he's dancing that line of like, oh, I'm on corporate news now and I'm corporate media. I can't say too much shit. But like, it's weird. The Breakfast Club has actually have had substantive like interviews with these politicians lately. Like, they literally, like, I heard Charlemagne the God like bring up the difference between the corporatists and progressives, and I was like, what fucking world am I living in? when Charlemagne the God, when Charlemagne the God
Okay.
is pushing Andrew Yang and these politicians more than like Jake Tapper. First of all, did you see like so Nancy Pelosi has a history of going full Donald Trump. She went full Donald Trump on Jake Tapper as well. This was like back in March where Jake Tapper was like,
Yes,
he was like,
yes, I remember seeing that.
yeah, she was like, he was like, yeah. So where's the state funding at, Miss Pelosi? She was like, calm down, calm down. The state is coming, it's coming. Relax yourself. Like a
Yes.
like a good little boy. He just sat there like, yes, mom. Jake Tapper's such a bitch. He was on Ellen today, but I was like, you're such a fucking cuck.
He still has a show.
All those guys, yeah, she does the show apparently. All those guys are such bitches. Like Don Lemon, like I hate Don Lemon even more now for how he went after Ice Cube. Did you see how he went after Ice Cube, bro?
I don't pay attention to Don Lemon, but okay.
Don Lemon tried to play the black card on Ice Cube by saying Ice Cube isn't black. Nigga, you're the same person that went to Ferguson and was like, I smell weed.
Marijuana.
Who did he get into a fucking debate with? What rapper was that?
I don't fucking remember.
I think it was what's the one boy name for hold up. Don Lemon literally got into a literal debate because he with a rapper, dog. Hold up. This shit, I think you'll find this amusing. Like it was to Talib Kweli.
You don't want to get it into it with him.
Facts. Beat this shit though. Beat this shit.
They don't mention the bottles in the article. In the article, you read front page, there's no mention of the bottles fly. I saw the bottles fly. You know when the bottles flew? After the cops told me they didn't blow my effing head off. After the cops, I'm not done. After the cops put on right here, put up they shield and took their batons and lined them on the streets. And then when they got in the position, a bottle comes out of a peaceful protest. That don't make no sense. So what I'm saying is the headline should say is common to the college agitated the people. And that's what the headline should say.
Okay, so we have addressed everything that you're saying. Please, okay? That's what you saw from your position. That's why you're not seeing everything that's going on. Of course. So from your position, only article that you're looking at on CNN is one of hundreds, if not thousands, that are written. That's true. And also, it's a small part of 24 hours of news coverage that we have here on CNN. Which is why I said it wasn't intentional. Your anger. Which is why I said it wasn't intentional. As far as you saying me coming up, I have a job to do. What I'm doing on television is in this phone. I'm reading. Hang on. I'm having no respect to greet you if I've never met you before, bro. To greet you, say how you doing. It's nice to meet you. How you doing? No, you did not. I did. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Did I not? No, you didn't. We have no tape. No, you didn't. You skated by here, and I said hello to you, and you say, hey, what's up? You didn't say my name. You didn't do nothing. I'm trying to get on the air. I'm working. I said hello to you. I'm trying to be respectful to you to make sure that I say your name properly. People call me Don Lemon. If someone came on, I would say my name is Don Lemon. So I just want to make sure I'm respectful to you so that I say your name properly. I said hello to you. I am very busy here. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I invited, and CNN invited you to be on CNN so we can have this conversation. And I don't mind having this conversation, having this argument. I don't either. We should do. But we have to listen to each other. Right, but the first thing you did that stopped this conversation from communicating is very important. While I was telling my perspective, you've been on TV all day. I'm in the streets and you out here, and I commend you. I see you going through the same struggles as a black man that we all going through, and I commend you for being out here because a lot of people who talk are not out here, and I can tell from your passion you're not just out here as a journalist. Right. However, the first thing you did when I'm telling my perspective is cut me off, and I'm telling you from my like you correctly said, it's only my perspective. That's all I can give you. Just listen to me. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm trying to address each point that you're giving so that nothing is lost in the sauce. So when you say something, I want to address one point, and then I'm going to stop and let you say something else, and then I'm going to address that point. I'm not trying to disrespect you. What I'm trying to do is get on television so that I can get you on and have a conversation.
Yeah, and it just goes. I think eventually, like to live, like he just like walked away. He's like on some fuck you shit and just walked away. But like,
I mean, can you blame him?
nah, because Don Lemon literally is a bitch, bro. Don Lemon. As I was watching that video, I was like, yo, he's literally Tom from the Boondocks.
Quite literally.
Except he's gay. Except he's gay. That's the only difference. And it's like,
wait, is Don Lemon actually gay?
I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah.
I know.
Anderson Cooper's
Anderson
good.
Cooper's gay. Yeah,
I can't stand Anderson. Yo, so you know he's a member of the Vanderbilt family, right?
I did not.
Anderson
That's
Cooper is.
interesting.
Anderson Cooper is a member of the Vanderbilt family, and he quote unquote did a summer job for the CIA. It's not that big of a deal. That's yeah, yeah. But yeah, Don Lemon tried to pull the whole like Ice Cube was trying to siphon the black votes from Biden, and this is why we shouldn't be listening to Ice Cube, even though what he's saying is right for black people right now. Da da da.
Okay. Can we just the thing I hate about politics in this country is how I guess identity politics is de facto.
Yeah,
Like siphon the black vote away from Biden. Sure. Yes. As if a black person, Biden is owed my vote.
and I agree with you. And you know who actually surprisingly will say something that's going to surprise you. I think when you say it, because surprisingly, this motherfucker. I don't know what his angle is. I don't know if they're paying him for saying this shit. But Charlemagne, I forgot what show he was on. It wasn't the Breakfast Club, but he was on a different. I think it was the Brilliant Idiots, and he was like, and Andrew brought up, all these rappers and shit like that, like supporting Trump, but they excluded Ice Cube. They were talking about like Lil Pump and 50 and Waka and all that shit like that. But he was like, I like it. Charlamagne was like, I like it. I like the diversity in, black men's politics. I like seeing them fuck with different people. And it's like, I was like surprised to hear that, especially coming from like a mainstream news person like Charlamagne. But it's like,
It doesn't surprise me because if you go back to, I think it was May, the interview that basically shirred
yeah.
me not voting for Biden
You ain't
was
black
by Charlemagne.
Yeah, that John was, yeah, and people don't see that shit though. You feel me? Like, it's like somehow if you're black, you owe a Democrat your vote, and it's like, nah, I don't actually.
Which on the flip side of things, I will say that as a black person, the Republican Party has made no effort to get my vote.
Well, I think they have personally. I definitely think they have. There's a reason why Trump had an uptick in minority voters for him. There's a reason, and I think it's because like he's actually extending out. Like, look, this one of the reasons why I feel Trump, as you know, I feel Trump was a lesser evil than Joe Biden, is because I think he would have been better on economy than Joe Biden. You know, it's like, and he wouldn't, and when he wasn't, he wouldn't be able to gaslight people like Joe Biden is going to be able to do.
I get that.
So, and that's kind of what was going into my point earlier is like, Donald Trump talked all this good game. We know he's not going to do it, but Biden's been talking a good game too. Biden's been talking about this Buy American Act, where basically like he wants to put, put something in place to where, if you're a company in this country and you don't make your products in America, you don't get federal grants and loans. He was obviously like he's going to get us back into the Iran deal. Obviously, he's going to get us back into the Paris Accords. He already said he's going to do that. He's going to protect the DACA people and everything, which, sure, you already know how I feel
I think that's great.
You know how I feel about, the immigration aspect, but
well, I think DACA is a little bit different, but
yeah, it's
I'm
different.
a fan of some of these steps Biden has taken, but in the same breath, I think some of those steps are just to get back to a normal, so people don't have to worry about anything.
Because when people say Joe Biden has the potential to be the next FDR, they're not wrong. But it's just the fact that they actually have any semblance of hope that he's going to do it. It's the problem because he's not. Like Joe Biden has shown, like with a flick of a pen. I learned this with a flick of the pen, sign. Shh. In student loan debt and inject $1.5 trillion into the economy right there. That is a form of stimulus. With the flick of a pen, he can authorize Medicare. He can extend Medicare to everybody.
One thing he has been talking about is student loan forgiveness, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah, but you should, if you knew his history on student loan,
I know his history on student loans.
It's not happening.
I hope.
He literally entrapped people into student loan debts because they they passed laws to make it easier to get loans, and then literally once people started taking those loans, they passed laws to make it harder for you to, if you go bankrupt, to get out of, to get out of it, or get help, get bankruptcy protections. So it's like, to me, that's insidious as fuck. And the bankruptcy reform, it wasn't just about college. It affected people with credit card debt and all that, any form of debt. It fucked a lot of people over. But like, he can do all this shit with the flick of a pen, but he's not going to do it because they don't want to make Republicans upset. Like, we can't upset our dear, leader who's been entrenched in the Democratic Party. That is John Kasich. He's put a lot of work in for this party, and we can't make him mad. Okay, Matt? John Kasich is as Democrat as they come, even though he's a Republican.
Honestly, I would have liked to see a John Kasich and Bernie Sanders square off in 2016.
I mean, look, when it came to in 2016, like, John Kasich wasn't getting nowhere near that shit. Like, from what I remember,
He wasn't. At least he won his home state.
It was Trump, Ted Cruz, or Trump, Cruz, Bush, Cruz, Rubio, then like Kasich.
Oh God!
It's like, I think
really quick.
I think Hillary would have beat any of them. Honestly, if it wasn't Trump, I think she would have beat them. But that's a different conversation.
Last two things before I go. Because you brought up Ted Cruz, the image of my head, or there's an image in my head of him eating a booger on live TV.
He ate a booger?
Yes.
On live TV?
Like, yes.
Like, it fell out his nose?
During one of the debates.
Wow.
It fell out his nose. It was on his upper lip, and he just went.
He's a clown, bro. He's such a clown. See, he was one of the people. So literally, I was watching this clip from like a month or two ago where he was talking about the election and coronavirus. And he kind of like basically said Trump was going to lose, because he was like, watch, when Biden gets elected and when he gets sworn in, when they see the results on election day, the coronavirus miraculously is going to be gone. And, here we are, Biden's, won, and coronavirus is still here and is probably worse than the first time it was. But
yeah. To my second point with coronavirus and everything, I will say that Trump's holdup of this presidency and holdup of transition teams probably isn't helping Biden.
I mean,
isn't helping this country.
I thought that he conceded today.
An independent office conceded, or not an independent. An independent office in the executive branch conceded. Trump himself has not.
Gotcha. I mean, look, I think literally from what I heard, he's going to go down to Florida to his resort on Christmas, and he's probably just not going to come back. That's what I heard.
I mean, good for him. But where I was going with this, and going back to Ted Cruz, Rudy Giuliani, as of late, has been the funniest meme-worthy politician to watch.
Wasn't his fucking like his hair dye melting off his face or something like that? Like, why are you still dyeing? Why are you still dyeing your hair, bro? Just let it go.
You're like 90 years old, my guy. Let it go.
Yeah, like from Borat. And he got caught up in Borat too. Remember that when he got caught on Borat?
Oh God, that was bad. He was adjusting his pants, lying down like that, while a supposed 15-year-old girl was talking to him. That's fucking weird.
Yeah. I find it kind of weird.
Especially when he's 15, that's fucking weird.
Even especially in this Epstein age too. A lot has been brought to light.
Yeah.
But even he was looking at that bitch at the press conference like, yo, she's crazy. Like, yo, she's insane. When the chick was talking, she was talking about the communist software that flips votes for anti-communist people.
Yeah.
What? Raggy? Like, where do you even Tucker Carlson had to tap out, bro. They made Tucker Carlson tap out. He said, look, man, I enjoyed the ride, bro, but I can't go there with you. He said I can't go there with you, bro.
The look on Tucker Carlson's face when I saw that. I hate Tucker Carlson, but he makes the stupidest faces.
Dog.
Then was a nice time to make a stupid face.
The most golden face is when Sean Hannity attacked him live on air, bro. That was the funniest face he ever fucking made. So he was so he just got finished doing the piece, like basically shitting on Amazon and Jeff Bezos and shit. And Hannity was like, well, guess, like he came, like he was like, yeah, so that's the end of the Tucker Carlson show. I'm handing it off to Sean. Hey, Sean, how you doing today? So I'm doing well because of big business, because of businesses like Amazon. Amazon provides a service to the country and they get rewarded for their service. That's how capitalism works. And he just like kind of like that. Look, Tucker Carlson was like this. He was like, just like what?
Oh god, I'll have to peep it. But I guess that means we went full circle.
We sure did. Jeez. But yeah, so I guess that's all. Yeah, that's all the topics. So I guess we're done. So yeah, thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Talks Talk.